So, a conversation that's been floating around the Kingdom Hearts community for a while now is the concept of a Kingdom Hearts Disneyland attraction. However, the argument that seems to simply torpedo this conversation tends to be that an attraction based off a video game of any kind is not exactly a feasible idea, even one based off a series as surprisingly popular as this one. However, such universal attractions as Final Fantasy XR and Super Nintendo World may change that. And if these, especially Super Nintendo World, turns out to be insanely popular, it might give Disney the courage to try making an attraction based off their own video game properties. And if they do, it will most likely be a Kingdom Hearts attraction, seeing as how the only other video games they have that are not based off their movies or shows are Spectrobes and Split Second. I'm willing to bet that half of you have never even heard of those games. So this vlog is more or less going to be my version of Doggin's Armchair Imagineering. And Doggins, if you see this, I'm up for a collab if you are. Also, Microsoft Word recognizes the word Imagineering. That has nothing to do with anything, I just think it's interesting. So what would be a good concept for a Kingdom Hearts ride that would more or less be simple to implement? Enter Star Tours! With Galaxy's Edge opening this summer, pray for SoCal, the future of Star Tours is a bit uncertain for park fans. At Disney's Hollywood Studios in Florida, it's more or less safe because it'll be right next to Galaxy's Edge anyway. However, in Disneyland in California, it's going to be on the opposite side of the park. Some believe that it'll be replaced with a clone of Hong Kong's Iron Man experience. But while I'd like to see that happen, I don't think it's possible, seeing as how they're building an entire Marvel land over in California Adventure. Enter Kingdom Hearts. First off, redecorate the interior to look like either the Disney Castle Courtyard Garden or some suburb that looks like it belongs in Hollow Bastion / Radiant Garden. The overflow room can be decorated to match, or maybe like the Station of Awakening. As we enter the main queue, what is now C-3PO and R2-D2 bantering while working on a star speeder would become Chip and Dale working on a gummy ship. And I'm sure some will comment how much work it would be to change that, but it's really not. See, one of the biggest points of the gummy ship in the series is how customizable it is. This can just be a ship that just so happens to look like a star speeder. All it would need is a new coat of paint, if that. As for Chip and Dale, just reuse the defunct Remy animatronics. Yes, this is a thing that existed. I am sad that they are no longer in use. And the screen that currently shows flight times and travel logs would now show flight times and travel logs. Confused? Well, then perhaps this will enlighten you. In KH2, there's a throwaway line about how King Mickey and Scrooge McDuck were working on a world-spanning transit system. That's right, this is the alternate timeline where this is the fruits of that labor. Continuing through the queue, Patrick Warburton bot here would be reskinned to, I don't know, Donald or Daisy Duck. I mean, literally reskinned. Didn't this thing used to be a bird in the America Sings attraction? Anyway, we move on, and possibly the pre-show / safety video will have a bit about how Maleficent or Organization 13 are threatening the worlds. Depending on whether or not we want to go with the things go horribly wrong angle. It's a theme park, so we probably will. We enter what is now a gummy ship, the cast member goes through the safety spiel, and the cockpit opens to reveal one of two possibilities. One, a Disney character pilot. Probably Launchpad, maybe Blue from Tailspin. The other is Sid from Final Fantasy VII. And yes, I know that's supposing that Square Enix will license the character, which is unlikely, especially if Universal has the theme park rights to Final Fantasy. And here's where we get to the meat of the ride. Instead of going to different Star Wars planets, we're traveling to different Disney worlds. And this is where we can appeal more to the general public. While I'm sure that the majority of park fans don't even know what Kingdom Hearts is, if you lean into the Disney side of things, they might be more willing to give this ride a chance. We can still have the random ride film element, and we can either just keep it as just visiting random Disney worlds and maybe even getting somewhat involved in some of their plots, or we can start off that way and eventually transition into a fight against the forces of darkness. Now, I'm not going to go any further into possible ride films for this because there are 20 plus worlds in the series and tons of angles that you can take it. However, I wouldn't mind hearing your guys' ideas for it. And what do you think of this idea overall? Do you think that it's a fun concept? Do you think that it's too similar to Star Tours worth doing? Or do you think that Disney should just leave Kingdom Hearts out of the parks altogether? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear.